Some devotees are asking, well, I've heard these teaching many times, and still I can't do it, still I can't follow, still I can't realize. I'm not the body, we've heard a lot. When I was a young devotee, I think I heard that in every class about 400 times, because they didn't know much, but they knew to preach that we're not the body, we're part and parcel of Krishna, we're servants of Krishna, and this world is a place of suffering. So gradually I understood that we're servants of Krishna. Gradually I understood this world is a place of suffering. It took a while. And I had to keep hearing it all the time because I didn't fully understand how this world was a place of suffering. But by continually hearing, it started to dawn on me, yes, we may think we're happy, but we get old, we die. But this idea that I'm not the body, yeah, I got it. The first time I heard it, I was like, yeah, this makes so much sense. But did I walk out of that lecture thinking, actually, I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, I'm no longer attracted to the opposite sex, and these urges of the body no longer bother me, and now I see all life forms as just spirit? Did I feel that way? Of course not. And after so many years, we still see, when we get tired, we're affected by it. When we're hungry, sometimes some devotees become angry when they're hungry. Still, attraction for the opposite sex is there to one degree or another, or we act out of false ego, which is bodily based. So, why is that? Because we're deeply conditioned. And what's the solution? Keep practicing, keep hearing. But I think one of the solutions also, which is important, is to become aware, because sometimes we're not even aware of our own conditioning. Sometimes we think we're actually realizing something, which is only an intellectual realization. We've only understood it in our head or our intellect. But on a practical, day-to-day basis, we're not acting it, which means we really don't understand it, because we're not acting it. And so often, we're not even aware of that. We think because we intellectualize it, that we understand it. We only understand it when we're living it. So that awareness needs to be there. You know, we're all usually have high estimation of ourselves and our actions, but sometimes we need to be more objective and see ourselves more like other people see us, and see actually what we're doing, not just what we think we're doing. Because sometimes we think we're doing something better than we are, or we think we're doing something, we're not even doing it, and we think we're doing it because we understand it. We intellectually, yeah, I understand that we should be doing this. I understand the importance of Prabhupada's books. Yeah, definitely, I could give you a lecture about how important they are. And so because I understand, then I don't realize, actually, I'm not reading them very much. I didn't even notice that, because I believe in the importance of them. Kind of makes me think that I'm doing it even when I'm not. So it's a psychological reality that we live in a subjective world, and it's difficult to be objective about ourselves. Or they say we have blind spots we don't see. So that's really an important answer, excuse me, to this question, is to be able to remove blind spots so we can be more objective about ourselves, to be able to better see what we can and can't follow. And then start dealing with it, start working on those areas, start being more conscious of what's wrong and how to improve. And obviously, the desire to improve is essential. It's foundational. The other answer, is the one I gave in the beginning, is sometimes all we can do is just keep hearing. And Prabhupada said that here over and over again. And why did he say that? He said, because two things. By hearing again and again, your understanding will increase. Maybe you didn't understand it completely the first time. You needed to hear it again, a little more settled in. Or maybe you needed to hear it 10 times before you even understood anything about it. Hearing is very important. But also, we're advancing day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. And so as we're hearing the same thing again, we're more capable of understanding it. So it's okay to hear the same thing you heard last year again, because now you're more capable of going deeper. And so that's also part of the process, along with purifying yourself by chanting and sadhana and so forth, so that you become more of a receptacle for realization. That's all we can do. And we have to acknowledge our denseness, that we're very conditioned. And sometimes we hear things and we can't even hardly understand them or understand them at all because of all our conditioning. We have to keep hearing What does that mean? And, you know, this world is a place of misery. But I forget. So I think I understand it, I get it, and then I lose that realization, and I go running after something thinking I'll be happy. That's our conditioning. We're deeply conditioned. One time when the devotees were asking Prabhupada about the fall down of Brahma, how should we understand that? Prabhupada said, you should understand that if he can fall down, what about you? So understanding how deeply we are conditioned was kind of an insulation for us, that we should be careful in Krishna consciousness, knowing that I'm susceptible to material conditioning relapses, where I can, you know, maybe I've been following Krishna consciousness nicely, but I could relapse, knowing how conditioned I am. So therefore, Prabhupada is saying every day, hear, every day chant, every day serve, every day, just keep doing it. That insulates you from the potential to relapse into material conditioning, which we're still strongly bound by. Then another reality we see is that you may be doing very well in your Krishna consciousness, but if you give up those practices, you can go back to a very materialistic way of living and thinking, and all these realizations you were having when you were practicing, you lose them, because unless you keep practicing, they're not activated. So you might think, well, how could you lose a realization if you had it? Well, you can. Because when the modes of nature shift, now you're seeing things through passion, or you're seeing things through ignorance. In the Bhagavatam, I think, first canto, 13th chapter, I forget which verse, Prabhupada said, unless you're in the mode of goodness, you can't see things as they are. And if you're in passion, you see it through passion. If you're ignorance, you're in ignorance. So, yeah, I was doing really good. I had all these realizations, very sattvic or transcendental. And then I give up my practices or weaken my practices. I'm overcome by passion or ignorance. Now I'm seeing the world through passion, and I'm seeing the world through ignorance, which is really dangerous, because if I see through passion, it has a boomerang effect or a vicious cycle effect. That it makes me more passionate. If I see through ignorance, it makes me more ignorant. So, yes, unfortunately, we're deeply conditioned. Unfortunately, it takes time. We're dense up here. We have to hear, hear, hear. And even though we've heard 1,000 times, we still don't get it. We have to keep hearing. It's just the reality. And as we become purified, then the hearing is going to go deeper, deeper, deeper. And one day we're going to get it. We're going to change. And we're going to say, I'm sick of being a conditioned soul. I want to be Krishna conscious. And I'm going to do what I have to do to be Krishna conscious. Hare Krishna.